Hey, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host, and I do hope you lot are all doing well today, man. I really do hope that. Welcome back to Chelsea News, the daily series right here on Football Therapy, where I go across football news media, see what's being said about Chelsea Football Club, consolidate it for you, present it here in one manageable package, giving you my opinion, but more importantly, hey, asking for your opinion. And there's a few things I want to talk about today. Positive news, seeing Thiago Silva training with the team, apparently looking good. What does it mean? When can we expect to see him featuring for the Blues? Well, apparently Frank Lampard feels as soon as possible. Declan Rice is seemingly off or is impossible this window. Regardless to how much Chelsea want to bring this player to Chelsea soon, it's seemingly impossible in this window. Glenn really do still want Tomori. Simon Johnston of The Athletic confirms. Could that be part of the Monday deal, as Monday is back with her own training? What's happening there? And also, big Timo Werner, our new Germanic gunman. He had a press conference talking to the media about Chelsea and him signing. He was very, very impressive. I really love Timo Werner, man. And he talks about how Frank Lampard was so important in him signing for Chelsea Football Club and why he chose him over other clubs, like maybe Liverpool. Well, if you like daily content regarding Chelsea Football Club, I would urge you all to subscribe to this channel, Football Therapy. Hey, only if you want to, man, but if you do choose to do so, please do hit the bell notifications icon. It's very important. And let's try and get a bunch of likes on this video, man. If you want to help me out, please do drop a like on the video. Thank you very much. Alright then, let's get into it. Thiago Silva, world-class centre-back, bit old, but still seemingly very, very fit, and can absolutely do a job for Chelsea for the next season or so. Although it has been speculated that he will be excellent to have around the training ground as an inspirational figure for the young centre-halves, seemingly Frank Lampard does want him to be a starting centre-back to partner one other, and he wants that as soon as possible. That's right, it wasn't so long ago Thiago was playing in the Champions League final. He had to self-isolate for quite a while before he could join the team. So it's been, people rightly speculate it might be a while before we see him in this Chelsea side, but the noises around the club is Frank Lampard is desperate to get him in there as quickly as possible, so possibly we could see him starting against Liverpool this weekend. I mean, for me, that's a little bit of a baptism of fire for a 36-year-old to throw him in to the most physical and fast league in the world against the champions for your first game. Difficult facing Sarr, Firmino and Mane, who all looks pretty pokey against Leeds. But still, if Frank thinks he looks good in training and if he really does trust him, then that's great. He's been training with the boys. I've been showing you some pictures, hopefully, in the edit here and the overlays of him training. Very, very exciting indeed. And if he does start, that means Frank trusts him and he's good to go, and hopefully he can communicate well enough with his fellow defenders. Sticking with a defensive theme for the next couple of stories before we talk about Timo Gunman Werner. Declan Rice. Certain journalists were saying Chelsea will go in for Declan Rice hard this transfer window. One also being Matt Law, who's a very reputable journalist who's close to Chelsea Football Club. He says if Chelsea can, they will. But David Ornstein, who is also a very reputable journalist, had this to say on his Tifo podcast YouTube channel. I believe it's called Ask Ornstein. Ornstein had this to say, tweeted via the Absolute Chelsea Twitter account, Declan Rice to Chelsea this summer is unlikely. It is understood they value him around £80 million. Chelsea are also not convinced that Rice has solved the technical deficiencies they got rid of him for. Rice is not for sale under any circumstances. It's branded unthinkable this window. Lampard is keen on Rice to turn him into a top-class centre-back. There are some reservations by some other people around the club for his price. Now, I'm not surprised this is branded unthinkable, purely on the premise of West Ham are imploding at the moment. They sold their superstar youngster that provoked Captain Mark Noble to come out and tweet his disapproval. If the fans were allowed in the stadium at the moment, they'd be very displeased with the club. So selling Declan Rice now would probably cause an absolute it would be a disaster. So I get it, he stays this window. Chelsea will probably watch him from afar. Well, not that far, he's still in London. For another season, if he still continues to impress, if Declan remains interested in Chelsea, which you imagine that would stay the case, then perhaps this move happens next summer transfer window. Do Chelsea try and get another CDM in the meantime? Possibly. It's been rumoured they still will try and get a midfielder if they're not able to get Declan Rice, which is seemingly the case. I'm not so sure though. Watch this space and I'll of course keep you updated on this story. provided you keep it locked to Football Therapy. Let's continue talking about centre-backs. Fikayo Tomori, Derby's player of the season, came into the Chelsea team after David Luiz was sold to Arsenal. Initially, the plans for Fikayo Tomori was to be loaned, but when when Lampard and David Luiz had some falling out, Chelsea had to keep Tomori because they needed that fourth choice centre-half, and it was a good choice. He played very well for Chelsea at times, notably against Ajax away, keeping a clean sheet with Zouma, but he had injury problems, and it's been a very curious case ever since. A lot of Chelsea fans are calling for him to be a starting centre-half, maybe next to Zouma, but at the moment it's very difficult because probably last season, Zouma was Chelsea's best performing centre-half. But you know, Christensen's still very highly rated. Obviously he had a very good defensive game against Brighton last time out. And of course, Thiago Silva will be starting for Chelsea. Where does that leave Rudiger as well? Regardless, even if Chelsea fans want to keep Tomori around the club and maybe sacrifice a Rudiger, for instance, I'm not so sure that's going to happen. And apparently Rennes are still very interested in loaning Fikayo Tomori this season. Simon Johnson tweeted this out yesterday. Can confirm Rennes remain interested in signing Tomori on loan from Chelsea Football Club, wrote about their interest last month. Reports in France suggest Ligue 1 club have now asked for the defender as part of the Mendy deal. I still expect the keeper to make his move to Chelsea soon. Very interesting. I wonder if that's true, if they're actually trying to force that into the Mendy deal. Regardless, we still can expect Edouard Mendy to sign for Chelsea and be a Chelsea goalkeeper very soon. Will they demand Tomori, or are they just asking? I'm not so sure. Does Fikayo Tomori want to go to Rennes? I think it would probably be quite an interesting loan for him. Remember, they're in the Champions League now, they're doing well out in Ligue. Presumably, it would be guaranteed minutes for Fikayo Tomori, guaranteed start. Ligue 1 isn't as high quality of the Premier League, of course, but in terms of its sort of traits and attributes, I suppose, it's a very similar league. It's actually quite physical and relatively fast, just lacking in quality, if you ask me. So, a loan for Fikayo Tomori could be good. Watch this space. I'll, of course, keep you boys and girls updated on this story. Right, finally, Timo Werner had a press conference talking about his time at Chelsea, coming to Chelsea, why he came, how things are going, and their ambitions. Off the bat, I loved this press conference. This young man is very, very humble, he's well mannered, he seems very intelligent, he responded to questions well, and he made all the right noises regarding ambitions, integrations into the squad, into the club, and his relationship with Frank Lampard. And that was probably the most interesting part of this interview press conference. He was asked a lot about Frank Lampard's role in getting Timo Werner to Chelsea Football Club, and his role was massive. Apparently him and Timo remained in constant contact. Well, certainly they spoke a lot, whether it's messages, phone calls, etc. Different means of digital contact. And he sold the project to Timo Werner. That much we know. We've heard that reported from journalists before. Pretty much all Chelsea signings implied that Frank Lampard played a massive part in them signing for Chelsea Football Club. But Timo Werner obviously was, like Kai Havertz, a wanted man. Kai Havertz obviously cost a lot more money, but Timo Werner had an affordable buyout clause, and he's an incredible goal scorer. A lot of clubs are looking at him. Now, it was rumoured that Liverpool didn't have the money to buy him, that he wanted to go to Liverpool, and that may still be true, but the way Timo Werner said as soon as he spoke to Frank Lampard, he was incredibly excited. And this isn't one player, this is a recurring theme, so a narrative that one is inclined to believe. He said, look, all the other clubs became nothing to me. I wanted to join Chelsea. He would send him videos, send him examples of how he wants to play, how, look, I know exactly how you play, Timo. This is how you'd play for Chelsea. And Werner said in the press conference, this is incredibly important to me because I played really well for Leipzig because of the way they played. I wanted to know how I would fit in to a new club, and Chelsea seemed perfect because Frank Lampard sold that to me. He was asked about Liverpool. He says, yes, Liverpool, other clubs were interested, but after speaking to Frank Lampard, I chose Chelsea. I wanted Chelsea. Frank sold the project, and to be honest, man, the rest is history. And obviously, as a Chelsea fan, that is lovely to hear. He looks incredible already. He scored a goal on the friendly, he won the penalty in the other game, and to be honest, due to poor service, he was probably robbed of a goal or two. He looks out the box, ready to go, Timo Werner, which is incredibly exciting. And if you haven't watched this press conference, I'd urge you to check it out because he was very impressive. So what do you think? Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. I want to see them. I'll be down there reading them, man. Please drop a like on the video if you enjoyed the content, and of course subscribe to this channel if you're new. If you want to see more of me, you're welcome to come follow me on Twitch, or even subscribe if you're into Twitch. Twitch.tv/YansYard. I'm streaming on there most evenings, playing video games, FIFA, Football Manager, Fall Guys, loads of other video games. You might enjoy it, so come support your boy. Other than that, I'm out, man. Enjoy the football, and I will see you later.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy tuck. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought. Body bag the verse, outlined in chalk. In my life seen trouble, hustle on the double. Silence on the trigger like my pick got a muzzle. Yo, chick like to guzzle, bad boy stay in trouble. I only love this paper, sorry I don't. I laugh me, baby.